checkers and pleasers!
Hey everyone!
Welcome to Checkpoint, our show where we discuss and discern the current events of the most recent episode of Check Please. Today we are discussing Check Please episode 51, and I would like to welcome our members today. I am Kenny, your fortunate host. Foaly as my co-host, hungry for crossed out, fleshed out answers, Petravian's tasty meat.
Nom
Spicy.
nom.
Xeno, our swamp witch swarmonger.
It's a mouthful.
Oh! Oh!
Beardy, our beloved daddy DM.
Hello, hello.
And Skrewy, our rock hard holy man.
Emphasis on rock
I'm a
hard.
mouthful.
Yeah, if for some reason you didn't quite understand that line, anyone listening, or rather, if you didn't hear last night's episode, that line will make more sense in due course as we discuss the events. In context, yes.
Mm-hmm.
You telling me the 50 some odd people who watched the session last night aren't gonna know what happened?
They may have forgotten. It was very subtle. There wasn't any double entendre. At all.
Not at all. But
So the
I've seen,
terracotta army.
I've seen bonfires that are less subtle.
oh, I thought you were gonna say bondage. That was less subtle.
I thought you were gonna say Bond films.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Oh my. Anyway, yeah. We opened up where we'd left off, which was a ballista bolt had just landed. Levette had just addressed the wall, and we hadn't got much of a response. In fact, we hadn't got any response, but we hung around long enough for a terracotta army to start marching out of the wall. I thought they were marching towards us, which scared the bejesus out of me, because we're talking and they're coming closer, but...
Yeah, we stood there yelling out, "Hello, is there anybody in there?"
We were the least barbarian of the barbarians, in my opinion.
I think we were very civil.
We tried our best.
We did.
So it was really good. We found I keep wanting to call him a proctor. His name's a prefect. It's like, dude, he's prefect. Lee is. I
His
keep wanting
title's
to
a
call him a
prefect,
proctor. I don't
No,
know why.
Not a proctor. Not a proctor.
Unfortunately.
Talking to him was a
Definitely
gamble.
prefect. But he is, I mean, not entirely happy to see all of you because, you know, you're a bunch of weird barbarians from the West.
Understandable.
And it's his job, his sacred duty to keep all of you out of his country.
I want to punch him
We
in
also
the face.
woke them up.
And you woke him up from a nap.
Oh, fuck
Which
him.
Which is, like,
A fiesta.
unforgivable.
Oh,
See,
Yeah, that's right. You woke him up from his
sorry.
fiesta.
No, he is justified. Absolutely justified. I am not a nice person when
he
I wake
was
up
working.
I'm kind of glad that we didn't have to fight the terracotta army, but I'm curious, what was the DC on, if you don't mind revealing it, maybe it's a rude question, but I'm curious what the difficulty was on getting this guy's attention or getting them to talk to us. What was like the secret sauce that cracked it, that we actually finally did get to chat with him?
So the secret sauce that cracked it is that you all made a high enough diplomacy check at the terracotta officer, because
Okay.
the terracotta officer has just enough, like,
One
spark,
intelligence or something.
just enough of a spark to be able to like comprehend words and orders, and
Okay.
It was enough to make him like go and seek his boss. So he went up and talked to the prefect and woke the prefect up for his fiesta, and then
Stop.
he came down to talk to all of you.
I want to kill myself.
I mean, I love Fiesta Terracotta.
I'm gonna,
We,
I'm
It's
gonna
very
sound
colorful.
delicious.
come to your fucking houses and kill each one of you brutally with how you've teased me. I don't know why
That's
Skrewy
fair.
hasn't yet.
All I mentioned was that it's a type of ice cream in the UK, but
That I don't know about, and I want to ask you about that later because I have no
Yeah, let's-
idea what flavor that is.
I don't think
I'm
I remember
assuming
either, but
I'm assuming it's like brown sugar, cinnamon, caramel.
I don't remember.
That'd be like dulce de leche or some shit.
Right, which is probably like what the English would just call fiesta.
But speaking of things that are fairly tasty, or at least tastier than he expected them to be, we, or rather Riz and Jiro, made tea, which went down well.
Was not terribly disgusting. Yeah.
Well, that's
Not
why I
terribly
asked
disgusting.
Jiro for help, because I was like, you know what'll taste better to him. Come here with me.
Yeah, he definitely seemed to be disgusted to be on the west side of the wall. Just looking around at the shitty plants and just being like, what kind of wasteland is this? How do
I'm
people live here?
really curious to see what the other side of the wall looks like, assuming that we are able.
And I'm
I'm
excited to describe it if you guys make it
I'm
there.
excited to see if there's like lush green forests and grasslands everywhere. Like it's the most like beautiful place we've ever been to, other than like the Emerald Forest kind of thing. I'm excited. I wanted to get there last night, but we didn't.
Sorry.
I mean,
That's okay.
almost there.
I
We
had
had
to
a
kill
bit of a
Petravian.
side kerfuffle.
Side kerfuffle. But before we get there, thanks to the tea and Kurla's awesome charisma checks, diplomacy checks, which I think Vera could have done too, except Vera would have been mean about it.
I think that this prefect deserves free samples at a knuckle buffet.
I like that we got to see a little bit more of the diplomatic side of Kurla, like the person that they could be if they could get over their bullshit. They
Wow.
could be really good with people.
Mm-hmm.
Did have a question. What was the oh, I'm sorry.
No, go
ahead.
ahead, Skrewy.
What was the sonic was that like was that thing trying to communicate, or was that just
Oh.
an deterrent?
Oh, the noise it was making.
The screeching
Yes.
terracotta.
Yeah, it was just screeching at you because it wanted you to leave.
So that's what I need to do?
If someone screeches at you, yeah, you should probably remove yourself from the situation.
Yeah, it's really awkward and weird.
I could do it, but it will actually hurt everyone's
Yeah.
ears.
I'm not gonna do it either.
Thank you for refraining. Well, he wasn't quite convinced by the tea and the impassioned entreaties of Levette and Kurla and others, although I think, Levette made a really good point about the magic being from the Emperor, so it totally could get through the wall, because the wall is also the Emperor's magic, so he was kind of on the fence, but not quite ready to believe us, and then Riz!
I did
Hold
the
out.
thing that I was gonna do to the Emperor. So I discussed with Beardy, because I was just like, when we brainstorm, he'll do something that'll push me, and I'll be like, well, I'll just do this instead. And he'll be like, have you ever done that? I'll be like, no, can I? He's like, go ahead and do it.
Go ahead and try. See what happens.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Well, in this case, we all got to see what happened, in that we got that vision of the potential future, the future where the Deadland expansion is not stopped and everything is fucked. Yes, as players, we all got to see that. Thank you. And that shook him a little bit.
Yeah, and just kind
It's
of.
not.
Oh, you go
It's
ahead.
not possible because that wall cannot fall. It was made by the Emperor's hand.
Yeah,
Like
Mega Spell
it
2.
cannot fail.
Just dab on him. I
Okay.
went off of Levette's comment about how it was the Emperor's magic, right? I took that and I went with like what his largest fears would be, pretty much. Like, but I will note, literally the one that I used, that is what will happen if the Deadlands are not stopped. So that's disgusting and terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good
Chris
luck,
didn't want to
everybody.
see that either.
A
And
thought on
Riz-
on the state. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
A thought on the idea of the Emperor. When you
Go
said,
ahead.
we're all saying, oh, it's a lich, just forever and everything. Pharaoh. They said this was Pharaoh. This was Pharaoh. They didn't say Pharaoh. This this is Pharaoh. The power of Pharaoh.
I need you to connect some dots for me. I'm
Okay,
confused.
okay. So I
So-
think. Go ahead.
It's not necessarily the same person. It is the power of Emperor, and whatever
Gotcha.
divine energy has been infused in the
Mm-hmm.
position goes to the next person in line. It's not the same
Sure.
person.
Yeah, the whole Caesar, Ave Caesar, and it's just kind of thing was the emperor. Yeah, the emperor. Yeah, okay. So you're saying that they're referring to the emperor as the title, and
It's just a vessel.
yeah, it's
Essentially.
interesting that they're not making any differentiation between past actions and present actions.
That's why. That's the thing I've caught on personally.
Because
Mm.
it's like,
We'll find out.
the emperor, because they're definitely not using like a definite article. They're not saying like, an emperor did this.
Mm.
They're saying the emperor did this. So
which implies
it
the current
seems-
one too.
it seems to imply that it's the same entity, but you guys haven't asked either. So maybe that might be on your docket of things to do next session. You're like, hey,
Hopefully it's
tell
not
us about this emperor of yours.
Hopefully it's not a horribly impolite question to ask. But then we are barbarians, so we have to, forgive us our stupidity and
How
our
else
ignorance.
will we be educated in the proper ways?
Exactly. It's all in the
Just have to
framing.
lean into it.
We just have to be polite.
We need
Bear's
to learn
gonna
Cyclo.
Get so mad.
We have to be polite to nobility. Oof.
I know.
Oh.
There's a dangerous
no.
source
It's
in
not
this
gonna
situation.
Ah,
Oh god, I hope they don't have any pets.
What?
because Petra's going to ask to pet the
Pet
the
shnookums of the emperor.
shnookums.
Oh god, here we go again.
Yeah.
How many times
gonna
can
learn.
Petra court death?
Sometimes it's better to just be fucking quiet.
Uh-huh.
Vera,
Ah.
What?
fucking talk.
Say whatever the fuck I
um,
want.
ooh.
Oh, spicy.
So Riz drives home that this is not an illusion, that this is the reality of the situation, that this is what is coming for the Kintao Empire and the rest of Obador and Oxidor in the world, and releases the vision. And the guy, hopefully now planning on expediting the letter in quicker than 3 to 5 years, or whatever it was.
4 to 5 years. I
4 to
think.
5 years.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's pretty good turnaround for the bureaucracy. I mean,
Well, the
Nothing
world's not
happens
gonna last
fast.
that long, so.
Yep. Well, hopefully he is now apprised of that and will act accordingly. But he's only one cog in a much larger bureaucratic machine, so who knows? That letter could get lost somewhere in transit, and then we'd all be screwed.
just ends up on a sort stack, and it's there for a decade.
Yeah, someone just puts it
And-
on a spike, and we're. The world was doomed by like some level
Oh,
0
like one
NPC
of those like
paper
end
pusher.
screens
Yeah.
where it just has like a staff in the ground and it's like that weird like parchment background and just like pen drawing. You died.
For the want
the world
for the
was...
want of a bureaucrat.
But
Just like the real world.
meanwhile, Riz comes out of this vision a little bit worse for wear as well, because they used up all of their fate points, as they have done quite a lot in recent days and weeks.
Yep.
And this time, there were pretty serious consequences as a result.
Yeah.
Were you expecting that?
I was not expecting con damage ever. I'm mad I'm back in the 90s mostly. That's like the worst part for me. I'm like, I finally have like, gone to hundreds. I've escaped the number 9, and it reeled me right back in.
Beardy looks very pleased with that.
At least your HP wasn't 99.
Oh my
it's
god, I would have been
98, right?
so mad. Yeah, it's 98. I would have been like, nope, Riz is dead. That's it. That's the end of campaign. Bye. You killed him.
So yeah, con damage. Permanent con damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Until
Fine.
such time as it goes away. But that may be conditional, and you have to figure that out.
it's at the will of the god who talks.
Well, not exactly. It's at a couple other. There's a lot of factors involved, and I'm not controlling very many of them. So I
Interesting.
just have the rules written out and I'm not telling you them. So that's the fun bit.
Fair enough. Interesting. Had you planned on doing this for a while then, or?
Yeah. I had planned on beginning the last arc of Riz's story for a while.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Now that Endgame's coming up, it's all coming to a head, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All the threads are weaving together. That wasn't even a pun, but then I just realized, hey, Fate Weaver, Riz. Yeah.
Or,
No.
spider threads.
No, we don't talk about those.
Mm.
But don't
So-
get me wrong. Soul could see strings, too. Let's not forget
Well-
that kind of information.
We'll get to that.
Yes, but
But
I got con damage, and I'm really fucked right now.
yeah, Riz may be dying.
I mean, we're all dying. Just
Dying.
True.
at different speeds.
I'd say
Riz
it's
may be
more
dying.
has been using too much power and has fucked up their body. I wouldn't say dying, potentially.
It is a bit of a stretch to go with dying, yeah.
Can Riz truly die?
I just
Can't
imagine
die in a way that matters.
it's like stubbing my toe. I'm like, I'm dying. It's like, no, it's just it hurts right now. It'll be better, okay?
Well, even if not dying, and the frailty is going to be really interesting to watch you play, especially given that they are more concerned for their potential mortality after being eaten alive in
By
the future that didn't
Vera.
happen. By Vera, yeah, and I noticed one part earlier in the episode where the hesitation before saying bees, I think it was, or swarm. Riz can't even talk about that anymore.
Nope. Somebody might have a little bit of PTSD.
I can't wait until you get
Vera
close to more
Traumatized Riz.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. So, I have taken a fault. Oh boy, I really don't want to go into combat.
So, mechanically speaking, how does a fault work, Beardy, for folks who don't know, like me?
Sure. So, basically, what happens in some situations, usually you make them during character creation, they're supposed to cover like some phobia or problem that the character has that is a mechanical penalty, and then typically in exchange you get something in addition to that. So, if you take a flaw, you might get an extra trait, but since we're not using the trait optional rules, that was never something we brought up. In this case, it was pretty much just a flaw taken because it was something that made sense to the character. So it was a mechanical penalty having to do with bees or swarms in general. So
Poor
Yeah.
Riz. Riz is just... Yeah.
I find it very interesting that you call it the future that never was, because it is something to someone. Riz
No, I
might be
wasn't.
the only one that remembers it, but it did in fact happen to them nonetheless.
I wasn't intending to disparage it. Like, for the purpose of our game, we're not living in that future, but Riz kind of still is, because Riz
does that-
weirdly lives in, like, all the futures. Kind of. I don't know. You have to tell me.
They live in a lot of places.
When you're living in the past, but you're actually living in the future.
mm-hmm.
Whoa.
But does
Lives in
that
a lot of places,
future
none of them
still
are home.
exist?
Are you asking if there's a?
Timeline divergence?
Is it a divergence, or is it just an erasure and rewritten?
Well, Riz always talks about seeing different paths and conclusions based on possibilities. I think maybe for them there might be. But I don't know. I don't know personally.
Because I have to go into the multi-dimensional theories, go into string. It's very complicated. So
Yeah, can we jump timelines? Can we move to a different version? No, okay. That's outside the scope.
That's getting
No,
into
we-
JoJo logic stuff. I don't think we
No.
can do that.
no, we can do that.
We
right now.
can't afford Kevin Feige, guys.
Who?
Producer
MCU.
of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
MCU.
Oh, that's nothing to do with JoJo at all.
No, but it's
That's
bringing
not a
in...
JoJo reference.
That's not a
not
JoJo
a
reference.
JoJo.
Get that shit out of here.
Was that not a JoJo reference?
In any case,
Not all of us have seen the majesty that is JoJo.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Sounds
Get
It's
on
on my
that.
list. It is on
It is
my
a moral
list.
faulting on mine, and I admit that.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
admitting you have a problem is the first step.
Go watch JoJo,
The second
everyone.
step is watching JoJo. Actually, no. The first step is watch JoJo.
Mm-hmm.
The second step is you don't have the problem to begin with.
All right,
That's
I'll go and
time
watch
travel.
it now. Bye.
That's desert power.
That's
After
desert
this
power.
episode.
After the episode. Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, as we're hanging out, we're kind of discussing how long we're prepared to wait for a response, or whether or not we should still kind of, if we don't get a response, tunnel our way under, or force our way through, or get into combat with those terracotta guys. We discussed a lot of potential options, and I think the consensus we kind of came to was 4 days was a good number of days to wait before we reassess. But character-wise, how comfortable are we with that? How
I think a couple
Antsy
days
are we?
is fine, but anything more than like 4, I'm gonna be like, all right, let's get going.
yeah. Get out
Or
of
at
the
the
way.
very least, we need to hear something from them. Like,
Well, that's why I suggested Levette to do a sending spell at that point and be like, hey, where are we with this?
No, I have sending too, just for the record.
Also, I do have a
That's
question.
the one who always uses.
I have a misunderstanding, I think, about the wall. What is
Okay.
stopping people from going over the mountains and the desert?
Technically, as far as you're aware, nothing. Nothing's stopping people from just
Probably-
crossing the
Probably
mountains of
fucking
the desert.
dragons.
trolls or so, it's just
So yeah, I mean,
completely something inhospitable.
yeah,
Because
I
Riz
mean,
did try to bring that up and was like, well, what's stopping the Deadlands from going past the fucking desert? There is no wall there. That's where it's starting.
Mm. Which the guy couldn't quite wrap his brain around, because
Wall.
It's
He
an
was too much on the
impenetrable area.
wall.
mhm. And nobody's ever come that way. Like no one's ever tried to invade the desert because it's an impassable desert. Just like how the mountains themselves are also impassable.
Not for the check, please. Like season 1 party, going up in that mountain, find that creepy little fissure temple.
if
You
if
never
we-
crossed those mountains. You went up into
We
them,
went
sure. But
into them near the top. I'm just saying, we could have kept
never-
going.
you could have. You never tried though. Maybe there was something
Some-
stopping you from going further
Someone
east.
was forced to give birth.
It's true. That
Can
was
we-
rough.
Can we combine a couple of the different plans? Can we use the worm, but can we go via the desert as well? Because
No.
Absolutely not.
reasons.
Absolutely not.
Vice.
And then we could all clamber on the back of the worm.
No.
and- okay, fine.
I need to. Yes, I need
Sorry.
to be the hash.
But that's desert power.
Yeah, but like we don't want to be like just a meme show.
I know. I'm fond of those books, but obviously we need to stand on our own. The odd reference aside, I think we do a pretty good job standing on our own, weaving a fun story together. A horrifying story in some cases. But, yeah, so we're going to be hanging out there for 4 days. So it's time to just hang out and not
Sleep.
do anything and sleep, rest up, recover the strength, and not do anything impulsive and stupid. At all.
Speaking of,
Speaking of impulsive and stupid actions,
Okay, no.
I was saying me, Skrewy, not you.
I was also agreeing on that factor. Honestly,
Ouch.
I'm just gonna make a note. Screw you did so good yesterday.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my god, Screwy's so on point right now with his role play. I was
Yeah.
impressed.
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
I really was into it.
I know you need this like positive reinforcement, so I wanted to like be sure I said something because I was thinking it yesterday.
Thanks.
Each one of our
but
players
yeah,
needs
it's
something.
yeah, it's definitely it was. I was really into it, and it just was a lot of fun, and I was genuinely curious as to helping them, and I was also genuinely curious as to what this was.
He's
so
such
me
a
as the player-
sweet boy. I just
Yes.
the whole time I was like, damn, like you convinced me. Like if this was me with my character, I was like, you would have convinced me. I don't see why any other reason would have happened right now. Like the outcome of doing this experiment of shackling up and manacling Kurla to see what would happen, I was completely convinced on my end. I was like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. I completely believe and trust Petravian. Like, I didn't think it'd go this bad. I'm gonna be honest.
Also, speaking about the shackles and stuff, just the joke that just kept on giving this entire episode.
I was kind of delighted by how that went, because as I said, the reason that Kurla gave in character was actually exactly how I'd done it, like 20 or 30 episodes ago. I don't remember even when. I think it was Sejun, it may have been earlier. I bought these from one of the shops as like a 5-second throwaway line, and have kept them, because at one point I was going to give them to Petravian and say, right, if I lose control, use these. And then Kurla started getting more control and was kind of okay. So I didn't know if that particular Chekhov's gun would ever kind of fire. And then shit went down with That Which Hungers, and I felt like now's a good time to bust out the shackles and the manacles. What could possibly go wrong? And honestly, I did not see how you played it coming. I thought it was just going to be, hand these off to you, we have a nice sort of moment of them. I almost said a nice moment of them bonding.
They did bond.
Hey, there was a lot of bonding in this situation.
There was a lot of bonding. I felt really close to you. But that was
a lot of physical exertion, though.
Oh my!
To get to there.
Yeah, I just have to echo what Kenny said. I think you did really marvelously as Petravian, and your idea convinced me and convinced Kurla, because Kurla really did feel safe. Like, okay, Petravian, yeah, we're
That's the most
we're
important
buds, and
part,
Petravian
is
has my
feeling
back.
safe.
I'm sorry?
That's the most important part, is feeling safe.
That's true.
Well, yeah,
and no
consent.
one feels safe with Vera.
We didn't set up a safe word, and that was silly of us, but
That's why it all went down.
It's true.
it really is.
Your safe word was run.
I should have just said yellow. and
I
then,
was gonna say zipper or pineapple.
So, with not much of an explanation to Vera, which, oops, we head off a little ways into the seclusion of a completely wide open stretch of land where we can be
As
overlooked
loud as
by
we need to
everyone. Oh my God, Skrewy. Yeah, we did engage in the exhibitionist streak as well.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, we wanted to put on a
we
good
had
show
a
for
watcher.
people.
Someone that was watching over us.
Yeah.
Not enough
So you got me
for
all
affiliate.
chained up. You were kind enough to make sure they weren't too tight or too loose. Appreciated
I
Exactly.
feel like they should have been tighter though. Like the minute Kurla was like, "Oh, you gotta like make sure I won't lose circulation," I was like, "I feel like this is gonna go badly now."
that. 2-finger rule. You've got to be able
I
to.
understand there's a rule, but also you have like a fucking evil monster thing in you.
Yeah, I don't know if that rule applies to like
Hey.
tackling someone who's like turning into a monster.
Yeah, I don't think that applies.
Yeah. I don't think I'd respect the 2-finger rule in that situation.
Yeah, I'd be like, time to tighten this a little bit more than the circulation. All right, let's go.
Oh, Petravian was being kind. Thank you, Petravian. I hope I
Patwavian
repaid
didn't
your.
know any better.
Well, none of you did.
That's 'cause
I
you didn't
was
tell us.
asleep.
I have to learn this as a player that playing with Beardy, that when my ideas are thought out, they're logical, and when they sound like very reasonable, the plans in response to things like what Kurla has, we're going to anticipate, oh, something's going to happen. We're not necessarily sure. It's not going to be that bad. No. Anticipate a Drider from now on.
Anticipate the
At the
worst
very least.
possible event.
I mean,
Hence
that
me talking about paths constantly. I'm like, all right, it's not just this is the positive good that could happen. This is the really bad option too. So we gotta like account for both.
So, Beardy, can we talk a little bit about just the genesis of how this happened from a sort of behind-the-scenes perspective?
Sure, yeah. So, basically, the power vested into Kurla was really just a spell choice for the character, a divine
I told you.
Divine Vessel, I think it was.
vessel. Sorry, That word just deleted itself from my brain. Divine Vessel.
It was my level
which
8
is
spell choice.
Yeah, really
Level
powerful
up.
level 8 spell, really good. And so we wanted to make it something that would be a little more impactful as a reveal to the game, and I think it worked out pretty well. I think impact achieved.
I loved your description.
Yeah, thank you.
That was horrifying.
It should be. It was meant to be horrifying.
I know you don't like spiders, Kenny, and I'm not too fond of them either, so that was horrible.
I
to
just
hear.
followed the Reddit r spiders and some good.
You
Spindly
said you
boys.
you almost had a panic attack this morning. I heard the
Oh my
noises
god!
you
I
made.
saw there was this one thing.
No,
And what happened was
absolutely not.
No.
guys,
No.
we
Am
more.
I the only person in here who actually genuinely likes spiders?
I think so.
Like we have like I won't kill spiders in my house.
Oh, I
get
take them
Kyle
out.
to do them for me.
I mean, if I see a
Um,
brown recluse, I would probably kill it, even though.
Okay.
I'd shoot it with a gun.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not going to bite you. Recluses will literally run away from you unless they're
Yes.
trapped. But
Like if you reach into something,
but I'm not down
Yeah.
with the necrosis, yo.
No,
not
I will
exactly
dealing with
not
that.
there. I'm right there with you.
You
But what I'm
okay?
saying is we have those like house, the little furry house ones.
And
Like they're like
Skrewy,
small.
Skrewy, enough.
Oh,
Enough,
sorry,
mate.
sorry.
You're killing Kenny.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
sorry.
You can keep going. It's fine.
I didn't get to talk
Oh.
about my favorite ones.
But,
That's
um,
consent, Screwy. Continue.
Okay. We just have like the house one because how else are we gonna get rid of house insects?
Don't leave food out.
How will I eat my like
Beardy, you're
5-day-old
gonna have some
pizza?
bad lives when you come live with me at Xeno.
Oh dear. Oh
Don't
dear.
leave food out. Keep your
No,
shit
my-
clean.
No, my favorite
bugs.
is orb weavers. They're adorable. I love them.
Oof.
They're very pretty.
There's
How you doing?
I don't remember the name of them, but I think they're just called like garden spiders, and they're like yellow and black.
That's
and they're really.
orb weaver. Yeah,
Is that what the one I'm thinking of?
yeah,
Yeah, they have like really good coloration.
yeah, yellow, black, white. Oh, I just saw. Yeah, you know what? I'm not even gonna talk about what I saw on Reddit. Kenny also hates camel spiders. They're not
He just
spiders.
hates
Oh, they're
spiders.
awful.
It's not. I know my sibling has a worse phobia of spiders than I do. And I don't really know if I call mine like a phobia. I guess it might be because I can't do shit when they're around. like-
Yeah, you get that terror.
I don't know if it's. I guess it is. I can't be near them. I have to make Kyle either make them go away or kill them.
Yeah, that's the shaken condition you're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing that there are no spider abominations or spider hybrids or spiders of any kind in the game. It's
Yeah.
great.
It's
Well-
a very spider-free scenario.
As a throwback
Altogether.
to Grum, the very, very first D&D, it was a text-based adventure that I ever experienced. My big, tough barbarian character was terrified of spiders, and our first boss was a spider. And instead of fighting with everyone, I made them run. So, yeah, I don't like spiders.
That's fair.
It's like
This
camel
is
spiders
d-
aren't technically spiders, anyways.
Doesn't matter. They're still awful.
They're creepy
What,
crawlies.
what do you mean they're awful? What's
They're
bad
awful.
about?
They-
Too many myths about them.
Too many myths about them, but I believe all those myths.
They're not real. But fun fact,
I believe them.
So camel spiders can run at 15 miles per hour. Will chase
Nope.
you.
Too fast.
Will,
Too fast.
Will chase you, but it's because
Nope.
they're trying to get into your shadow because of the desert's heat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it
I'm-
looks
I'm
like
well
they're
aware.
chasing you, but they're only trying to get into your shadow.
Anyway, oh god. Now I'm starting to like get a little bit.
Nature's fascinating,
big.
you guys.
I would shoot them.
Agreed.
With a gun, please.
What the fuck?
I would shoot so many spiders with guns.
They're good spindly boys.
Dino, I'm right there
I-
with you.
Thank you.
I
Bad,
used to kill them, and then I kind of made friends with one, and we came to an understanding because he'd been living in my flat for 6 months without me realizing it. So I took him outside very gently, and since then, that has been my approach. Take them outside, and that's fine. But they still scare the bejesus out of me. And now Curler is one, kind of. Shit.
Can be. For a few
Centipedes,
minutes a day.
different story. Kill centipedes instantly. Fuck those things. Yeah. I was pretending to
But,
squash a centipede.
It
Like
was
pill bugs.
We're done with the spider talk. Back to
Yes.
checkpoint.
Thank you. Back to
Now,
checkpoint.
Spider Curla.
It was a
Spurla?
nice. It was a nice moment, I thought, when Petravian was encouraging Curla to kind of just let go and let themselves be vulnerable while they're shackled up, which some interesting dynamics there. But it was lovely, and I was about to say I wish it could have gone differently, but I don't. I love how it went. I feel bad springing that on you, Skrewy, but at the same time, it was a
Springing what
fun.
The whole
springing
situation?
The whole situation, the
Oh,
whole
okay.
reveal. But at the same time, I was really excited to do that
I think
reveal.
I'm so glad that you chose me.
I was waiting for it to happen in battle, like later, but I think some of the arguments that were in game about, not the arguments, but some of the points raised in game about how it's better to do it on this side of the wall than it happening in Quintal, I think that's that's definitely the case. I think it's better for it to happen on this side.
Oh, but we don't know if they. I mean, they probably saw, and I'm hoping that. Oh.
I'm hoping he was inside his little office.
Yeah.
It was
Writing
far-
a letter.
It was
Did the
far
office have
away.
a window?
Oh, didn't see jack shit.
But yeah,
We'll find out.
massive spider, and the spider Curla decided that they were hungry and
Sure did.
tried to eat Petravian.
So, quick interjection. When I was thinking of it, just the proper physical description for the Curla form, the hybrid form thing, I wasn't sure if I should go Drider, which we've already kind of been down that path with Lilith and all that. And I was like, well, what if I make it a bit different, and instead it's like giant spider body with just Curla's head on it? And I wasn't sure which would be
It's not.
more
As,
unique / more terrifying.
I mean, it's more terrifying, but it's not as cool.
Yeah.
So that's why I ended up going with the other. I just stuck with the Drider form because it's like, the Toric form I feel like is more iconic. So, let's go
I mean,
with
you
that.
could also just gone with a full-on spider.
I'm curious to
Then
know
you're,
if
then you're just a druid.
But I wanted it to be horrific and unnatural,
Mm-hmm.
and just
It
making it
was.
into a. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mission accomplished.
You did it. You made me very unhappy.
Petra's face, when you asked how his face was, yeah,
He felt
he
bad.
knew he fucked up, and that he felt bad for Curla, that he put them in this situation.
That was the
And-
moment.
Such a
I
good
felt bad.
boy.
he
Fucked
is.
up.
And I was really glad that you described it that way because I wasn't planning on killing Petravian going into this.
You should.
You should.
I loved that. All of you were like cheering me on to just go ahead and kill off Petravian.
Well, not
Like,
cheering
no,
out to
I-
kill Petravian, but to be in it, like in the moment, like, oh, this is what my character. I am always very much for the. This is what my character is. This is what my character would do. Not like the toxic sense, but just like, this is the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I had hesitation as a player, just killing, like, actually just full on killing someone else's character, but I think
Don't worry, a
That has
guest's
a-
already done it.
That's true.
Yeah,
I
I
think-
mean, yeah, I would say just if you wanted it to be a situation where, and I fully understand. One, you don't want to kill another character. I get it. It's also you want to make sure that this is an ability that you're not just going to put up on a shelf and never touch again. And if it's something that makes you completely lose control and is so damaging to your psyche that it makes you kill your party members, you're never going to touch it again.
right.
So I understand from like both the meta and the story reasons why you wouldn't do it.
I think
I think you should have played with your food more, though.
I think the nervousness as a player, and yeah, that consideration as well, I think that did feed into the character, though, because as you said, the character is not just fully given in. The character is fighting back against this urge. Or are they, playing with their food a little bit? It's really hard to say. I don't think Curla knew in that moment, but I wanted there to be that conflict inside. which is why I was asking what the face looked like, because I wanted that as a catalyst for them to be making those will saves and kind of focusing on not killing you off. But I have the nat 1 on the save attempt from my harm was kind of delightful. Watching your health bar drop all the way down into the tiny lower red was kind of, I'm sorry, it was satisfying.
Very.
Because we don't see that very often with Petravian.
That was a good hit. Please correct me if I'm wrong. In different systems, if a single hit does a
You're talking about
certain
massive damage rules?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not an insta kill, but it's like you gotta start rolling.
Harm doesn't apply that specifically because harm cannot kill someone.
Okay.
The spell is designed to be impossible to kill someone with.
I feel like it's a great way to torture someone. You harm them and then heal them and then keep doing that.
Cough, Petravian, cough.
Yeah, it's the same Petravian.
I was thinking the same thing. Yes,
But-
I know.
Again,
That poor person.
as a player, concerned about accidentally killing a player when I play a character when I don't want to kill it, but at the same time, that is Kurla's. That
Right, Karis?
is one of, if not Kurla's, most damage-inducing spells that stays in with what they'd want in that situation. Because I think the only one they have that's more destructive than that is destruction, and that wouldn't have left them anything to eat.
Right. I mean, it's a spell that would
Well,
incapacitate,
yeah, you
and then
wouldn't
you
have been
get to
able
work with it.
You wouldn't have been able to physically eat them, but I still feel like you would have claimed their soul.
But,
And that might have
food.
sated your hunger at some level.
Yeah, but now we get into the question of whether it's a physical or spiritual hunger. A little bit of
It's
both.
both.
It's, yeah. So,
Both. Yeah. Porky knows dose.
but, yeah, but I
Porky
mean,
no los dos.
Porky no los dose.
as Beardy kind of pointed out, if only we'd done this in episode 50, and if only...
Yeah. So close.
How many
We're one
times have you,
off.
nearly died now? Petravian and Marcus?
Skrewy has
A
a magical,
lot.
magical ability of almost dying-itis.
Yeah, so we were talking about that last night. What?
Yeah. Petravian's only died
Once, right?
once, technically twice for Risen, right? Or is there
I thought
another
there
I want to
was
say
more.
there's a third. I think there's a third in
I
there.
feel like there's a third, but I can't figure out what it is, because I know your brother killed you.
Uh-huh.
I thought there was
The
one
bees
before.
killed you.
I thought there was one before.
Yeah.
I thought so too,
the
but
brother.
my point
Ish
was...
almost killed.
That's
I brought
true.
that up. Yeah.
That's true. There
Yeah.
was that.
That was a near miss.
Decapitation.
The ice worm exploding.
That was Riz.
That was Riz.
I died.
God, I
Yeah.
feel like there was one more.
You
Yeah.
told you didn't have enough
I
money.
can't remember.
Maybe we're conflating season 1.
Like it might be the fact that
Possibly.
we're like, oh, it's Skrewy's character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Rather
think
than
that's
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Yeah.
Character-wise, yes.
So I guess
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Marcus has almost died several times too. One, it was a pot of water in the beginning. Two,
Episode
was
one.
being burned alive. And three was our fault.
Yeah, we got the water and the fire, but what happened to the dirt and the air? Did you fall off the airship at all at any point? Because that's a missed opportunity to get all four
No, but I
elements
think I
as a-
killed somebody dropping
Yeah.
the bottle off of it.
Definitely.
Definitely.
You dropped
Yeah.
a bottle of glass in a halfling village.
If I killed someone
Yeah.
by giving them 100 gold, I know you killed someone.
Wait, why would the 100 gold kill them?
Oh, it's many a times I've been told how that was a dumb thing. Go ahead, Beardy. Tell them.
I'm just saying, if you give a street urchin 100 gold, that street urchin's going to try to spend that money or talk about how he got that money, and that's not a safe thing for a street urchin to say in a town full of,
course.
thieves,
Cutthroats and
thugs, and
thieves.
murderers.
Yeah,
Especially a
that's
child.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Child.
A child.
No.
Not a child.
Ha. Well,
But
So-
as it goes,
Yeah, so I guess the question I have is it because the character of Marcus and Petravian are very different as far as their role in the party, right? One was a cleric, a support
T-posing.
character, healer.
Mhm.
One of them is a paladin, which is a frontline, defensive, really hard to kill character, typically. But yet, both of these characters have been highly death prone, and I'm wondering if that is a result of just Skrewy's play of these characters, or is it somehow like me? Am I
the
going after
problem?
Skrewy? Am I the problem? Am I going
Well,
after Skrewy?
okay, let's
As a-
go over the options so far.
Partly it's the dice.
Skrewy chose to go in that water. The other half was everyone was getting dragged into the fire to become crispy chiggy nuggies. So
Mhm,
that was just
yeah.
luck of the die.
Yeah,
Because
because Levette almost was in
yeah.
there. Yeah.
And I was basically dead from the lizard.
Yeah.
God, could you
was a
imagine if
rough
Levette
fight.
went in there and ended up like cyberizing their body after the fact?
She already cyberized her body even without the burns.
Oh, I mean, like even more so. Just imagine like a little like clockwork mask, because you'd never see Levette's face because it got burned off. Oh,
Giving
that's
grandma
terrifying.
I can imagine
chills.
yeah, that would have been a pretty interesting like visual change of that character to entomb it in like a clockwork
Terminator.
power suit almost.
Terrifying and yet awesome.
The third death the third almost death was just death, and that was our fault. Levette's. So
It's
there's
not my
that.
fault.
Sorry, I'm talking about like the party when
I know.
I say our.
I mean, I told
I gotcha.
Marcus that he had to do it, otherwise Vera would kill him. So
Okay. Well,
Yeah, there were threats.
Soul fucking Pontius piloted that shit and was like, I'm not part of this. I just want him to, like, if he has to die, I want him to die peacefully.
it wasn't peaceful.
I made him think that Eden cared.
And yet Eden did care, at least judging by the
True. She just don't talk.
closing credits.
He
Yep.
he needed he
Wait
needed
a
to hear
minute.
something.
Just like Jiro.
Shut the fuck up.
Have you ever seen Jiro and Eden in the same place at the same time?
Oh god.
Oh shit! I can't believe they figured it out. Fuck.
And then we get to Petravian, who keeps picking fights with everyone pretty much. But in season 1.
Let's
Oh,
see.
sorry,
Who-
yes,
Who,
yes, yes,
has Petravian both in and out of game 1v1'd?
Okay. He's 1v1 Levette.
Yes.
And lost.
There was an outside of canon battle with Vera.
Yeah, and I've killed Petravian.
That one.
in
Okay,
real
wait, no,
battle,
hold on.
too.
That 1v1 was because I was stupid.
You wanted to showcase how strong your multi-class was.
Yeah, that was a poor choice on my part. And I learned from the experience, and I have grown.
And you tried to diplomat your way out of that fight somehow. I was there in the background just listening, and I was like, this is a player versus player. Those rules don't apply at all.
I
Especially
want
when
to
you
say,
wanna show how strong you are.
that when it comes to me as a player, and my characters dying,
Mm-hmm.
figure this: I roll a lot abnormally high, in general.
Mhm.
I think that might come hand in hand with this kind of death proneness.
There's a glass cannon over here.
Interesting.
Like, you're more...
You roll high, so you're more prone to making decisions that you feel like, oh, the dice will just get me out of the situation. Yeah, okay.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, you vaulted the barrel, but that was the nat one, so you ended up in the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I'll roll high on this vault. It's not going to be a problem. Oh shit! You
Yeah,
fucked
it's-
around and then you found
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, see, unfortunately I have been taught since childhood that from my father that if you don't try, you'll either A, never know, or B, never get anywhere. So, go for it. What's the worst that can happen?
Death.
Yeah.
Drown in a
Giant-
barrel of water, yeah.
Giant curler spider.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was not on like that big dartboard of shit that could happen.
Was not on the paths you saw.
I was not on there. Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta say, I felt it as soon as the talk of like, oh, we need to be safe with like the restraints. I'm like, oh no, this is going terribly now. I knew the second I heard that, I was like, I'm fucking asleep and this shit's about to go down. God fucking damn it.
It was, yeah, What were people's response to just the whole thing?
Let's go. Shit, Petra's gonna fucking die.
Yeah, I
and
thought
then
I
I'm
was
gonna
gonna
have to,
die
and then I'm
again.
gonna have to murder Kurla.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like had Petra died, Vera would be at no mercy.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Oh,
I didn't have the
yeah.
reagents to like bring Kurla, beg your pardon, bring Petravian back then and there at full like strength. So
Yeah.
that would have been Kurla dead instantly before they can help.
I'm not gonna say it would have. I don't know if Vera could have taken you, but it would have been. I don't think they would have had any mercy. None.
Xeno, any mercy?
I don't know. Partial, maybe.
I felt like Vera was handling the situation much better than I thought she was going to.
Is because Vera promised Kurla a long time ago when they were first talking, sometime after the incident at the temple, that if it had been within the hive with Vera and Kurla, with what happened with Verla, that the hive would have helped Kurla. And Vera remembers this, and Vera is resolute in keeping her promises. So that's why she
Interesting.
said that I'll do what I can to help, but I can't promise that she'll be safe if worse comes to worse.
Interesting, because that was a conversation where Vera left really, really pissed off that Kurla was going down that hypothetical route. But also a situation where, Vera had...
That was a different one. You're talking about Reduvi going... If Reduvi left.
Yes, sorry, beg your pardon, I was thinking of that conversation.
There was another time where you were asking what Vera would have done if Vera was in the place of, like, the townspeople.
Okay. I vaguely recall that. We've had some good conversations. I like that their dynamic has evolved as it has.
But obviously the question is, how would that factor in if you had killed one of their brothers? So it's like,
Yeah. And it was looking dicey though, because shrugged off Archon's trumpet.
Yep. Archon's trumpet. Yeah.
Which I wasn't expecting that to just bounce off as it did. Keni?
I was.
You have something?
If I'm 100% honest, I figured it would not have worked.
Because Chains of Light wouldn't work.
No, more so because they were channeling their deity, and it I don't know what increases to fortitude and all the stats might have been boosted from that. It was a let's see if this works. Oh no. And Archon's Trumpet has worked before. So has Chains of Light.
What is the effect of Archon's trumpet?
It's
Stun.
basically Chains of Light in a cone shape.
Oh.
Okay.
It's a
I see.
1d4 round stun.
I wasn't sure if it was a situation where I would have been forced to flee, which is what happened shortly thereafter, because Vera
Yes,
appeared. Bees
true.
appeared to save the day. Yay!
That mask appeared.
mm-hmm.
Yes.
Fucking
That was
terrifying.
Yo,
that was cool.
These masks be pretty lit, yo.
And we had an insect arachnid fight. Did I get that right? Did I use the correct terminology?
Yes,
Awesome.
that's correct.
Finally. And Vera, yeah.
Is a Drider an arachnid? It's part arachnid, part mammal, so it's kind of more of an abomination, technically.
I was,
don't know.
yeah, somehow demonic. I love that Vera reacted as, it was a demon, I
and-
think was the...
Anything that Vera deems isn't good is demonic to her, anyways. She doesn't
That's
know
fair.
what the meaning of the word is.
But, yeah, managed to get through to Kurla. Managed to make them scamper off and then get through to them. And Kurla shrugged off, or didn't shrug off, but managed to find their way out of that deep headspace they were in. And ended the spell effects.
And we got to that point without having actual damage inflicted onto Kurla.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Were you disappointed about that? Would you have liked for us to go a couple of rounds?
Oh, of course.
Who do you think would have won?
I don't know.
If Vera is in swarm form, Vera. That's my thoughts. I don't know what area effects you have other than the blade barrier.
I think there's a fire one that Kurla has too.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You have a flame strike.
I do.
But I do have some healing. That would.
But if Kurla had rolled low, kept rolling low on their will saves, would they mentally have had access to their to the mentality to utilize their spells?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there.
Where do you think the spells come from?
I mean, a lot of
Fuck.
a lot of the decisions I made there were, I don't want to actually be harming the rest of you, so I'm not going to use the spells beyond the first one, and that I'm going to be asking to do the will save every turn. That was just the way I wanted to play it.
To be honest, I'm glad it stopped when it did. Maybe one or two hits, one or two melee attacks, but I don't think I would have either of us would have survived. If I'm brutally honest.
If we're both going against, I'd say that's pretty easy to take out Dryad or Kurla. But Petravian Hummel?
Divine Vessel is a very powerful buff, but it's not powerful enough to tip the scales between a 2v1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think the stat bonuses it comes out to being like +4 con, +6 strength, DR 10/good, which would have been ineffective versus Petravian. Resist cold, fire, and electricity. I think there's 3 elemental resistances, 10 each. I mean, it's a good buff, right? Like, it's fine, but it's not gonna tilt it too far. Particulate form was also used, which gives fast healing 3 and immunity to precision damage, but none of you guys use precision damage. That part of the buff is useless.
Yeah, for that buff, really, I just wanted to show that as well, because that was the other new kind of spell. I was mindful of not stepping on your toes, Zero. Zero. Sorry, you're not a dog. Xeno. Because Zero was the yeah. Because obviously transforming into a giant horrible creature by powers imbued by a primal deity and also dissipating into a swarm of tiny creatures is kind of your thing.
Yeah, but they're all primal gods.
All shapes and sizes.
So I wanted to kind of make a distinction between your swarm shape and the dissolution, or whatever the hell the spell was called.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to bring out the body horror of lots of tiny spiders linked together to make up a figure.
Also, for those who didn't know the reference, Spider-Man is Spider-Man, but his entire body is made up of conjoined spiders.
I did not know that.
It's
Yeah.
awful.
That is
wonderful.
horrific.
Peter Parker actually fell into a vat of
That's right.
spiders.
Oh god.
Is that,
And he
is
was
that how
eaten, and,
Yeah.
and the consciousness suffused through all of them.
Let's not do this again.
God.
Anyway, so Kurla returns to their, I don't want to say normal, because when has Kurla ever been normal, but their usual form, and we get some good cop, bad cop between Vera and Petravian.
Yeah, I will say that Vera is very much like a strict teacher, while Petravian is like this coddling mother.
Yeah.
It's like, don't say that to him. It's like, I'm saying what needs to be said.
Like the parent comes in and is like, my kid is upset. And the teacher's like, your kid's bad at school. Be better. You think I care? I'm here to
you know how
educate
many-
them. I'm not their mom.
Do you know how
When
many
it comes
kids
to
I
that-
have?
That comes from a headspace of, that's what I had as teachers. Your kid's bad. He needs to be Catholic school.
I was a bad kid. And I wasn't even in Catholic school.
Oh no, I wasn't a bad kid.
No.
I just wasn't good.
I wasn't a bad kid either. People
Oh.
just didn't like me.
Ah, fair enough.
I was the weird kid. I got in trouble because I wore a Naruto fucking headband, and they're like, this could be a gang sign. And I was like,
Oh, good
y'all are
lord.
fucking dumb.
I would be the weebiest gang.
Yeah.
It would. I was the only one wearing it. That's the thing, too. I was like,
Hmm. I don't know how many gangs go
Gang
around
of
wearing
one.
orange headbands.
it's not orange.
It's
It's
blue.
blue.
Oh, it's not
It's
orange?
blue and
It's
silver.
blue?
Yeah, with a metal plate on it.
Oh, shit. Okay. You had the metal so you had the actual, like...
I had a
Oh,
real
wow.
Naruto headband.
My
Hidden Leaf Village, baby.
all
You
my
fucking weeb.
my friend group did the same thing. Like I think there's at least 3 of them that wore the Naruto headbands, and they would reenact Naruto and Dragon Ball Z in the lunchroom.
I didn't have any friends to
And
do
I was
that
like, I
with.
want to fucking die. I love them. I love them to death, but I wanted to fucking die. Wonderful.
Yeah. Man, though, just... There's so many times where I'm like, oh no, Vera's so mean right now. And then at the same time, I'm over here, like, being a fucking masochist, like, yeah, Vera's being so mean. Yes! Makes me so happy. So, it's hard to be picky about Vera. It really is, but I love her.
But meanwhile, while everyone else was having their conflict outside,
Yes.
back in the Vardo, Riz was kind of laying in bed, recovering from their exertion from earlier.
Hell yeah.
And Jiro was sitting there next to them, and we sort of used a memory as a conduit for a flashback sequence there. So we had a bit of a little flashback. It was a couple days earlier. Because then we called out having a conversation and then said, we'll cover it later. So that was how we did that. Yeah, that was that. That was that scene. And yeah, it was sort of these two characters realizing that they're both very similar to each other in a lot of ways. They both have, they're both kind of fish out of water. They're both travelers. They're both far from their home. They both don't even know if their home exists anymore in the way that they remember it, or if they remember it at all. So I think that that's something that is an interesting thing to bond over.
And it was really nice just as a thematic counterpoint to all the violence and shit going on outside. It was nice to have a break from that and have something kind of sweeter and nicer.
I mean, season 2 has been missing more romance compared to season 1, so I'm happy to bring that back in.
Yeah, I think this is like just, you know, holding hands and a hug. So
Oh, I think they're very soft,
yeah,
kind of romancy.
Yeah.
It's like middle school kind of, do you like me? I like you. Check the box if you like, yeah.
A little bit. I mean, Riz doesn't
It's
know what
sweet.
they're doing.
Yeah. And I certainly don't think that Jiro expected to have these sorts of feelings. I mean,
He started it. He
He
held my
started
hand
it.
first.
it's true, he did.
Just immediately gives Riz butterflies, and they're like, I don't know what's happening. Am I dying?
It will be interesting to see how that plays out, especially with Jiro still less adamant, but still pretty adamant about ending his life.
Yeah. I mean, it's a sacred rule. Like, he's got to do what he's got to do.
That was one of the things I wanted to talk about, was him being like, some things are bigger. It's like, yeah, but you're doing this for no reason.
Well, I think it's a very significant thing to tell Riz, because I think they've taken that information a lot more, and probably a more deeper way, because it's risen.
Mhm.
Where they're like, yeah, I guess you're right. The world is more important than my insignificant life.
It's just like so ironic. It's like, yeah, the world's more important. That's why you shouldn't end yourself and continue helping.
Every time I
I
think
mean, the
of
only
them-
person that can tell him not to is the Emperor.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, every time I think of them wanting to off themselves, I'm just thinking, oh, my honor, my honor, my honor. Freaking Prince Zuko over here. Like, no, you can't. Sorry,
I don't think he's talking about his honor. His honor is that it's something that is the deepest of taboos in their society. It's something that you are not to do, and the punishment for doing it is death, and he doesn't want to make anyone else kill him. He's going to do it himself because he knows that it's the right thing to do in his society.
Yeah, that okay. Good.
It's
I like
just
that
a
clarifier.
different culture, bro.
It's going to be interesting to see if Riz and others can convince him not to, without, offending that cultural norm.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to the Emperor and being like, stop that.
Let's hope Vera's not near the Emperor.
Oh my god, I'm so scared of having Vera in this area.
You could
You think-
you could Gias Jiro.
He
tries to
will
kill himself?
die!
We talked about this.
I love that.
The point is that the consequences for going against a Gias is that you will die.
That's amazing.
A Gias to not die.
Yeah, I guess you to not kill yourself. It's like, oh, okay.
Like,
No,
it's
no,
more
no.
painful,
A Gias to not
guess.
die. A Gias to not die.
It still will
now
kill
he's
him.
immortal.
That's-
But then it's gonna.
This
It's
is
gonna
like
kill him.
this is like taking a cat and putting a piece of buttered bread on its back. I get it. Yeah.
What?
What? Perpetual motion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll live
I
forever
understand.
now
Yeah.
because it's a Gias to not die. If he's gonna kill himself, then
Okay,
he'll
I
die.
think-
But then the Gias will
judging-
think.
Screwy.
No, it's
Judging
the
from the
cat
facial
toast
expressions, I'm gonna
thing.
assume that Kurla is not familiar with what I'm. Sorry.
Oh,
So let me
ah.
explain.
You don't know
Foley.
if Curler is familiar with it or not,
Yeah,
but
sorry.
Foaly certainly is.
So Foley, if you take a cat, which always lands on its feet, and then you take a piece of buttered bread, which always
Okay.
lands on buttered side down, and you
that's the
attach
connection.
that to the top of the cat, and then you pick the cat up and you drop it, it cannot touch the ground and just spins in midair,
Gotcha.
and it creates perpetual motion.
Except
and you
Gotcha.
can use
physics
that.
exist, and that's not real.
Then what happens?
We all
Einstein.
explode.
I saw a
Nice.
video about it online. It's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole thing. I'll find it and link it to you guys
Motherfucker.
later.
It's all
No.
based on electromagnets.
Mhm.
So yeah, this sweet moment takes place, and we flash back to the present, with Jiro being very attentive and I guess guarding or just being there in case he's needed for Riz, which is definitely what Riz needed in that moment. And then the three amigos walk back in. The three. But I mean, I don't want to say idiots. Two idiots.
Wait.
And Vera.
Which Vera had come in hoping to have a group meeting. I was like, no, Riz is tired. And then Kurla stomped into their room.
Went to bed.
Which
I mean,
Vera was going to say, hey, we should probably have you sleep outside so everyone's safe.
yeah, that would have been insult to injury.
But I mean, it's not about insulting, it's about keeping people safe.
It's about keeping an eye on Kurla, I think, for Vera, right?
Yeah.
And she's like,
Well,
well,
wouldn't you want me closer then?
I
she's
trust
the one watching the carts at night
I
outside.
Ah.
Vera trusts her ability to survive, but doesn't trust her ability to be able to protect everybody.
Interesting.
Which also we didn't bring up the fact that Kurla had that voice at that one point that said, "I'm not sure if you'd survive." Which I don't know if that was Kurla or if that was That Which Hungers.
I think it was That Which Hungers, but
I don't know.
I don't know why That Which Hungers is trying to pick a fight with Vera.
Well, I mean, That Which Hungers is in contention with Mellifera, so
I mean, I can tell you if you want to know.
that's up to you if you're willing to tell.
I mean, that was a me decision. That was me playing it as Kurla, not sure where they start and That Which Hungers ends, and whether it's That Which Hungers having influence over them, or whether it's just a nasty side of them presenting itself, or some weird combination thereof. So, in terms of it actually being like That Which Hungers, and the god having that level of influence over them, that's not something Beardy and I have discussed, and it's not something I would have just done by myself. But but I guess it's up to Beardy whether or not that's a plot hook that Beardy wants to pursue at all. I just think it was a nice moment to show that there's a lot of conflict in Kurla right now, and they've got a lot of different things influencing them right now.
But,
I mean, Beardy, did you have a reaction to that moment? Were you wondering what the hell I was doing?
Not exactly. I mean, I'm curious to see what the next part of the story is going to do to influence your behavior. So I don't want to tip my hand too much.
Okay. So it doesn't work against what you have planned.
Part of my job is to make sure that everything works, and that my job is making sure that my plan is mutable enough to fit in, like, whatever, that I can stretch my plans around what you guys do, and then when it works out really well together, you guys can think that I planned it that way all along.
Fair enough.
And then I can smile and nod.
Yeah, so we talked to Levette, hoping that potentially she could make some kind of restraining device for a Drider, in case.
And it took a... Sorry, go ahead.
In case worse came to worse.
I think they'll figure I think they're talented enough to make something.
Yeah, but they're also working on like 15 things, so.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now that they're not going to have as easy access to Voska anymore, it's going to be a little bit more interesting.
Oh, there was also another thing that we missed, which was, wasn't this the episode where Riz was talking about, the only reason I'm like here is I keep on doing stuff for y'all, talking to the gods?
Yeah.
Which Vera definitely is at least the one who has never, just because
That's true.
I talk to my god, and you don't even talk to primal gods.
But Riz's spells come from the gods.
Yes.
So technically, their constant communication with gods is what they're good at, what they're here for.
Just not in temples.
True.
Temple dungeon.
Let's just rub that salt in a little bit more. Yep.
It was really tragic hearing that from Riz. I mean, it makes perfect sense for who Riz is and who they perceive themselves to be, but it's obviously not something that how the rest of the party perceives Riz, I would say.
I mean, does it speak to the fact that you guys don't perceive it as that, or that Riz has been treated a certain way to make them think that that's all they're good for?
Like, Vera doesn't really even talk to Riz, because it's almost like this mercenary kind of...
Yeah, there is, like, no relationship between
Yeah.
you two. There was gonna be. I was trying to join the Hive until I got PTSD.
In answer to your question, I'd say it's a little bit of both, but at the same time, it's kind of up to Riz to decide whether or not they're gonna take on board what people tell them.
Actions speak louder than words to Riz.
Well, one would hope that there's room for both.
I mean, you're talking to the charlatan who lies to people to make their lives better or worse.
Sure.
Words
And yet
have
people
much
see-
less meaning.
And yet people see value in them. But again, it's Riz's belief system and Riz's way of looking at the world coming into conflict with everyone else's. Or you can say it's everyone else's way of looking at the world coming into conflict with Riz's. Everyone is coming at it with their own values, which leads to a lot of miscommunication and misunderstandings, which makes for a more interesting game.
And that's what we're here for.
You disagree, Kenny?
Oh no, it just sounded too like, and that's what we gotta do. That was the tone, sorry. It just sounded glum.
Oh, no. I mean, it makes for an interesting game. It makes for hopefully a what's the word I'm looking? A compelling game for the audience.
I hope so. This is for you.
Yes.
It's all for you.
It's true.
That and bondage jokes and killing Petravian. I mean, you're here for all three, right?
That's
I mean, no,
not
that's
for
that's
me.
for all. That's for all for us.
That's not for me. No. That's for you guys. I'm good. Petravian.
Mm.
Looking for Plu.
Yeah, right after being told, "Hey, watch this door," and like, I should really start looking at this place for Plu.
Where this sleeping injured person is. Really loudly.
Yeah.
I have this feeling.
Yeah,
that Plu
no, I've done
probably
that
snuck
before.
into this place today,
Well, I don't know how Plu could be in the
Bardo.
astral plane spell that like Riz has.
You'd be surprised the places that Pooh even get into.
I mean,
They-
then
they-
Riz would
they
have
are
to
very
be aware
flexible.
of him.
You'd think, yeah.
Oh God, Beardy, no.
You look over at Jiro, just ditto face.
I'm gonna kill you.
It's Duplica's Ditto.
It is Duplica's
God
Ditto
damn it.
if Ditto's face does that. Specifically Duplica. All other Dittos can perfectly transform. Watch the anime.
I mean, I'm down for Plu being Jiro.
You know,
personally.
that episode ruined that Pokemon
Yeah,
like forever.
it's true.
How you doing there, Skrewy?
I'm just thinking of where the fuck this thing is. Like,
Maybe it's
it has
inside
crossed
you
my
all
mind.
along.
That's what I was going to do. That was the one thing I had planned for this session was to do a thorough search for Plu.
I'm sorry.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, next
time.
session. It's
Next
on your notes
time,
now,
you guys
right?
just
Yeah, you
y'all
saw
are
the
still
notes you
stuck at
take?
the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got 4 days to look for Plu.
Yeah.
and not yell while someone's sleeping in the room.
Yeah.
Yes.
Didn't you know that Yiro and Riz were trying to have a fiesta?
Oh. Ouch.
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, the burns. On that note, any final thoughts from people? Final comments?
It's a good game.
Yeah, I was happy with it.
That's really
I
good
was
game.
like, yeah,
I felt happy
good
about
sesh,
how it
good
went.
sesh.
Well,
Hope to see you next time, guys.
Actually, I
Yes.
do have one question. I am wondering how Curla is feeling with everything Vera has said. Like, because obviously Vera has been quite serious in dealing with this issue that just arose. So I'm wondering what Curla's take is on that.
I think Curler is still figuring that out. I think Curler is not sure, but given the at times very adversarial relationship they've had with Vera, and then also at times the kind of openness and trust that has developed as well in places, I think there's a part that's gonna resent Vera's involvement, and there's going to be a part that's grateful for it, and then there's also going to be the part that is still on a self-destructive kick and would have really liked that scythe.
It is a nice sight.
To slice them open. Which, thank you for doing the sense motive check there. I liked that moment too.
Yeah, that's a good check. Damn.
yeah,
like
I was
32?
surprised. I feel like people, the dice do as the dice do. It was a really good episode for the dice choosing how things worked out.
Like, I would have ended the spell earlier if I could have, but I kept rolling shit on the will saves.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't have been as interesting.
Screwy's
Exactly.
over here like,
So-
hurt me,
I-
hurt me.
I am.
So,
I'm wondering if
dice
we
worked
could
really well.
have. I wonder if Vera could have helped you transform if I had been using the Mask of Honeyed Words instead of the Mask of the Lesser Sister.
Intimidation one.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Sure.
Guess we'll have to find out eventually, maybe. Who fucking knows? But we will see you all next week, Saturday, 8 p.m. Central, as normal for our next session, and hopefully we can get into Kintao this time. And if not, I'm gonna go to Beardy's house and strangle him. So,
Yay!
thank you all so much for rolling with us. We'll see you next weekend. Until then, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.